Hey everybody. I know I'm going to probably get a lot of angry comments or just mad people when they see the title of this, but it's not what you think it is. So, whose way to God is better? And is there only one way to God? The answer to the second question is I have no clue. Answer to the first question, I don't know. I don't ever claim to know. I won't claim to know unless God tells me. But I do think that there is a stipulation. There is only one way for you to get to God. You have to find your way. And you have to go to the source itself. Don't listen to idiots like me. Don't listen to really any man, any person. Because they all have biases. We all do. I was raised Christian, and a lot of people that I knew who were raised Christian, it seemed to be a lot of Catholics especially, were just so put off by the church because it seemed like everything in life, the only thing the churches were good for was judging them. And I get it. I get why they do some of the judging. I understand. You know, most faiths are like that. The problem with our world, and the problem I think we've always had, and I don't know if it's something that we can get away from. I wish we could, but for now it's just ingrained in us. You have to excuse me, it's still pollen season here, and the heat's cranking up and making the allergies go nuts here. So, we're a tribal world. Everything we do is going to trigger somebody. Everything we say is going to trigger somebody. Because somewhere in someone's life, they were either rightfully or wrongfully judged by someone or condemned by someone or whatever. They have some kind of experience, maybe someone of another race jumped them or something. So they, now for the rest of their lives, in their head, when they see a person of that race that jumped them, they're going to automatically just think right back to that. It really is something that distracts us. It's something that distracts us all, and it's something meant to hold us down. I really do think the world elites and the leaders and the governments, they love it. They love it. I've followed politics all my life, and I'm never going to get into politics on here, but I will get into, what was it? It was the Occupy Wall Street movement back in, I think it was the early 2000s maybe. I can't remember the dates because they all run together to me. But you had, at that point, people of every single political ideology getting along. So you had Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians all agreeing the banks are screwing us over, the government's screwing us over, we got to do something about it. And there's a famous meme of, I can't remember exactly how it went, but the banker sitting there and a guy coming in and saying, hey, look, they're all turning against us. What do we do? And the banker goes, send out the identity politics. Since that day especially, we have been a country distracted and obsessed with things like identity politics, tribalism. My religion's better than your religion. My philosophy's better than your philosophy. No, you're dumb if you don't believe what I believe. If you believe in God, you're dumb. If you don't believe in God, you're dumb. It's all meant to distract. It's all a huge distraction. I am not here for everyone. That's obvious. My faith. Well, let me start with this, because as I keep saying, I'm building a bigger video to kind of explain this more. But I wanted to. Most of my videos, I'm just talking, just whatever I think about during the day. Or a lot of times, your comments and stuff, I like to put on the. I'd like to respond to them because I write a novel, as some of you know. I literally am there for hours at night, sometimes 6-7 hours, just writing, not just comments, but a lot of times. And sometimes I don't get to as many as I want to, because it takes me over an hour on one comment, and that's just I just have to respond on video. So I know that when I say that I'm a Christian and I follow the teachings of Jesus, I push a lot of people away. And a lot of people need the kind of help that I'm giving, and that is not my intention. But I'm never going to apologize for my Christian faith, because God sent me on a mission. And God sent me out to, the day after my rebirth, He had me scouring every religion, every philosophy, every spirituality I could, every mythology, whatever. And what He knows that I like to do, and I'm kind of good at, is seeing how they all connect. And they do all connect. They absolutely do. A lot of the Bible and stuff, ancient Sumerian religion, a lot of every single religion comes from the ancient Sumerian religion. I think a lot of the Old Testament especially is a sort of, I'm not going to say it's not true, but it's sort of them trying to make sense of what happened, with this knowledge and wisdom that's passed down over millennia. So, thousands of years, definitely. I think after we had the Great Flood, which I seem to have found, and a lot of people agree with me, but a lot of people disagree, seemed to be about 12,000 years ago, called the Younger Dryas period. And we seem to have had kinds of crazy stuff going on then. But the Great Flood is not fiction. It happened, and it's in almost every single religion and philosophy and mythology, and, well, not philosophy, but mythology, the ancient ones. They all seem to have an account of it. I think it's almost 200 of them have an account of the Great Flood. So obviously that we can be pretty sure that happened. We have evidence of a great flood. You can look at the Sahara Desert and how it's washed away. But how do we make sense of what to believe when man is translating everything from the Bible to the Tao, to every single religious document comes from man? It has to. Every language comes from man. So how do we find the truth in that? Well, for me, God works through man. God works through everything. But we're the only ones capable of pondering the deeper questions, pondering the deeper meanings in life. So they have to work through man. If God just came down and wrote down some tablets himself, like Moses and the Ten Commandments, he just wrote them all. He wrote the whole Bible down himself. Then maybe it'd be a little bit easier to believe for some people, but we are still so skeptical and we lose faith so quickly. But we're not the only ones who lose faith quickly. They've been doing it forever. The people lost faith in Moses after as he was going to get the Ten Commandments. He was gone for so long, they built the golden calf to worship. We see the disciples the day after Jesus was crucified. They didn't lose complete faith, but they didn't listen to him saying he was going to return to them. So God sent me on the mission to find how it all connects and what is the best way to kind of go forward with my spiritual life. And I was put off a little, a lot by the Christian churches who had turned their backs on my father, who I believe is, one of the kindest men that I know for sure. They turned it back on him, and I heard of so many others they're turning their back on. So why would I have faith in the Christian church? I've never been to a church where they helped me connect with God. So why would I take their word for anything? It doesn't make any sense to me. So I already had this preconceived notion in my head that, okay, I still have a foundation in Christianity because I felt the presence of Christ when I was young. But I was going to find in my mind, I was going to make a patchwork type of religion and take the best points from each religion and tie them into my own. But what I like to say is I was kind of putting together a puzzle, and God told me not to look at the puzzle as a whole, just to focus on each piece. So I did, and I was finding these amazing things. All kinds of different religions and spiritualities really helped me and really were fascinating to me. But there seemed to be something missing for me. Now, this is for me. Everything I say is only from my experience, only from what I got from God and what God told me to find in my life. So I was going through these different types of faith, and to me there was always something missing. And then I realized when the puzzle was complete, and then God's message to me, first of all, God's message was lessons all throughout. Every single piece of that puzzle was a lesson. But when it was complete, the puzzle was a picture of Jesus. I was wowed, and I was a little confused. I always loved, and I've always believed in Jesus. I've always believed in his teachings. But I never knew him. Even though I felt his presence, I felt God's presence, and I didn't know him. So I had to find him. And what I found was that everything that I found in all those other religions and all those other spiritualities, it all was already in the Christian teachings. Now, it wasn't in the Christian churches. It was in Christ's teachings. And I believe that, I'd heard somebody say it before, that the New Testament is a document that is meant to be ever-changing for every single different generation. The foundations are the same, the teachings are the same, but we are supposed to take what we get from it and add to the vast tapestry that is the beautiful, beautiful teachings and legacy of Jesus. Because I talk about, the Apostle Paul a lot, because he's such a flawed man and such a great, spreader of the word of Christ. And the Apostle Paul, that was all after Jesus' death. Yes, he met the disciples and he was alive during Jesus' death, but he never met Jesus until he came down in his spirit form and spoke to him. I think his words are a lot of the New Testament. And I think that our lessons, our teachings, our studies are also part of the New Testament for us. Because we all kind of have our own, not all of us, but most of us have our own little religion. We have our own set of beliefs. Christian denominations and sects, they fight and they disagree about so many things, and it's really like a bunch of children. And I get it that there's a morality that has to be followed. I understand that. And I do agree there is a morality that is best for the world. And to just not let the world go to complete hell like it seems to be doing right now. I think that's why so many of us are waking up right now. Because it is time for us, and not just Christians, but of every faith, it is time for us to return to God. No matter what faith you are, if you don't even know your faith, it's time for you to go and seek God. In fact, those who don't know their faith are maybe better off than those who do. Not the ones that are strong in their faith, but I'm saying the ones that have no faith yet, but are seeking it, compared to the ones who already have the preconceived notions and biases in their head. Because then you can start from scratch and you can study what God is telling you. This is why I will never apologize for being a Christian, ever. It's got what God led me to. And I understand there are very holy people who go through every faith and connect with God. Now, there is nothing wrong with that. For me, I'm not the one who's going to judge you and say, Christ is the only way to God. No, for me, Christ is the way to God. For me. I feel I've learned so much from other philosophies and spiritualities. I learned about synchronicity and how God talks to me. He might not talk to others like this, but you see the signs through this beautiful nature behind me, and through animals, and through art, through everything. I learned about just so many things that have helped me be a better servant of God. Because that's what I am meant to be, a servant of God. I think that we're all too selfish. We all think that we're so above, Christianity or any religion. Atheists are very, they love to mock believers as if it's some sort of fairy tale, yet they believe that all of this is from nothing, that our consciousness is from nothing, that morality is from nothing, the laws of physics. And that's fine. That's fine. I'm not here to judge you. God can be the judge, not me. I'm the big dumb idiot, and I'm not going to judge anyone. And I hope that I can help you out of the darkness. And I hope my Christianity doesn't scare you away, because I am not the type of Christian that you might know. I think about it a lot. If you've ever seen the movie Braveheart, the Irishman who talks to God, that's kind of like me. That's more like me. I talk to God. He tells me what's up. He tells me what I'm supposed to do. And at one point he tells the William Wallace, Mel Gibson character, he tells him God tells me I'll be fine today, but he's not too sure about all of you. I think that is amazing. A great movie. But I'm not here to even lead you. I'm here for a hand up. I'm here to bring you hope. And if my beliefs in any way are off-putting to you, then you shouldn't even watch, because I'm not trying to be, and I won't ever try to be, but I'm not going to deny the faith that God led me to. I'm really not. I can only do it the way I've been told. It's the way I know, and I will always keep learning, and I will always keep listening to God, and if He ever wants me to do something different, then I will do it. But this is the way I have to do it now. Because to me, for me, and for many, Jesus is that stairway to heaven. So I think of it like, and I know this is running on a long time, I think of it like there's our realm, there's the spiritual realm, and then there's the divine realm. We can get in touch with the spiritual realm. It's not actually that hard. In fact, take a psychedelic, you're in the spiritual realm. You're witnessing the spiritual realm. Do deep meditation, you're in the spiritual realm. But to get to that divine realm, you need a conduit. And for many people, the conduit is something different. For me, it is Jesus. He takes us straight to God. The teachings of love, compassion, empathy, those take us straight to the source. Okay, that's everything for now. Thank you. God bless.